in the late operations. So taper turning can be achieved by the different methods which we have discussed in the last class. So there are 4 methods which can be achieved this taper turning. Okay. So that is by using form tool and by offsetting the telescope and by swiveling the compound rest, and one more is by using taper turning attachment. So according to your syllabus, you have by offsetting the tailstock and as well as the by swiveling the compound rest. By swiveling the compound rest. So if you look at this, by offsetting the, taper turning by swiveling a compound rest, a taper can be produced with the use of compound rest, and here we are going to swivel to a given desired angle, at which the taper is going to be produced, and the taper angle which you are going to calculate by using the tan alpha equation, that is tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 2l, which is discussed in the last class, that is tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 2l. So where the d is the larger diameter of the taper and the smaller diameter of the taper, and then l1 is the l is the length of the taper you are going to obtain. So the rotation of the compound rest is going to be obtained, so that to the calculated angle. So whatever the angle you calculate by using the equation, so based on that you need to swivel the compound rest to a given angle, and so that the tool to be fed at a particular angle, thereby producing the corresponding taper on the workpiece. So this method is suitable for producing the steep taper with a short length. Okay, so we'll show one video on this. So here, this is what you can call as compound rest. So here this angle is set here, angle is here. This is angles from 0, 10, 20, 30 like that. So whatever the taper angle is calculated, so by loosening this nut, and this compound rest can be swiveled, means can be rotated to about this particular given angle. Okay. So likewise, loosen the nut and then swivel the compound rest. So swivel the compound rest. So see the given angle, you need to calculate the angle using the tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 12, and then this has to be rotated to a given angle. So now it is set. Then once it is set to the given angle here, so if you look at this is 0. So now it is kept around. Okay, not visible. And so after that, you need to tighten this once again the compound rest. Then you need to perform the turning operation by moving this compound slide. So that the taper can be obtained. The tool is brought near to the workpiece and then given the feed, and then see this is the compound slide. This is the compound slide. Compound rest we can call it as. So by swiveling this, so feed will be given here, and then it will be the compound rest can be moved, so that the taper can be obtained on the surface of the workpiece. See the taper surface is a conical surface is obtaining here. See the conical surface, how it is. These are all called chips, as we discussed the chips, right? So these are all called chips which is coming out of from the workpiece. that is the major diameter and minor diameter, so that we can get the. Okay, so now we'll move to the next method, that is taper turning. That is nothing but taper turning by uh, offset method, tailstock offset method. Taper turning by tailstock offset method. So in this taper turning by offsetting the tailstock is nothing but the taper is you are going to produce by shifting the axis of rotation, by shifting the axis of rotation of the workpiece at an angle to the lathe axis, and then the tool is going to be moved parallel to the lathe axis, and then the tool is going to be moved parallel to the lathe axis. And this method is used for producing the small tapers on the long workpieces. This method is going to be used for these small tapers on the long workpieces, and the angle at which the axis of rotation of the workpiece is shifted is equal to the angle how much is going to shift or offset. That offset is calculated by using the d minus d by 2l into lw. So where capital D is nothing but larger diameter, small d is nothing but smaller diameter, and L is the length of the taper, and capital L is the length of the workpiece, length of the workpiece. So this method of taper turning is used for turning small tapers, So this we'll see one video on this. Yeah. So here, see offsetting. This is the actual. So this is the axis of rotation. So this is the offset. This is the offset which is performed. So if you look at this workpiece, which is at an angle of at an angle that is d minus d by 2l into L. So this is the tailstock is offset to that particular given angle, and then see the axis of rotation. The axis of the rotation is parallel to that axis of rotation. We need to shift the tailstock to a calculated angle. So this is the live center and this is the dead center. So this is how the offset is done. And then the length of the taper is going to be obtained by movement of this carriage in a longitudinal direction. Next is specification of lathe. So a lathe machine is specified. The size of the lathe. Is specified by one or more following criteria. That is one which I have given. The height of the centers. One is the height of the centers that is measured from the lathe bed. The height of the centers. Here the centers are nothing but the dead center and live center. So the height of this dead center or the height of the live center is measured from the lathe bed. So that is the one of the specification of the lathe. That is the height of the centers. One more is swing diameter over the bed. This is the largest diameter of the workpiece. Which will revolve without touching the bed. It is equal to the twice the height of the centers from the bed. Generally, it is equal to the twice of the height of the centers from the bed. And one more is swing diameter over carriage. So it is defined as it is the maximum diameter of the workpiece that can revolve without touching the guideways. And some manufacturers specify the height of center instead of swing diameter. So which revolves, it is the largest diameter that can revolve over the cross slide. There is always lesser than the swing diameter over the bed. Okay, and maximum bar diameter is nothing but the length of the workpiece which it can handle or it can be supported. So the length of the bed, maximum bar diameter is nothing but this is the maximum diameter that will pass through the headstock spindle. And range of spindle speeds is also one of the specification which I are going to mention that till what ranges of the speeds it can operate, and the length of the bed, length of the bed is nothing but measured from the headstock end to the tailstock end, parallel to the axis of rotation. It indicates that approximate floor space is occupied by the lathe. what is the approximate floor space is occupied by the lathe. So if you look at this, so this is the swing diameter, means they measured from the lathe bed. So it is the height of the centers. It is also called as the height of the centers, which is swing diameter over the lathe bed, and swing diameter over the carriage. So it is measured from the cross slide. And also distance between the centers. So maximum job length that may be held between the centers is called as distance between the centers. And overall length of the bed, This is of the bed length in meters, which includes the headstock length. I mean, from the headstock end to the tailstock end. So what is a milling machine? So here, a milling machine is a machine tool. A milling machine is a machine tool that removes the metal as the work is fed against to a rotating multiple point cutter. Here, the milling cutter rotates at high speeds. And it removes the metal at a very fast rate with the help of the multiple cutting edges. And milling machine is used for machining flat surfaces. And this milling machine is going to be used for machining the flat surfaces, also contoured surfaces, and external and internal threads, and as well as helical surfaces of various cross sections. So all this can be machined by using the milling machine. So milling machines can also use for slotting, drilling, make a circular profile with a gear cutting by having a proper attachment. And the cutting tool used in this milling operation is called as a milling cutter, which has a number of numerous edges called as a teeth. And machine tool to make these milling operations by produce necessary relative movement among the workpiece as well as tool is called as a milling machine. And it gives the necessary relative motion between under extremely controlled conditions. So in milling, the cutter is held in the spindle of the machine and made to rotate at suitable speeds. So the workpiece, which is held rigidly by a suitable device, and it is fed slowly against the rotating cutter. Then as the workpiece advances against the rotating cutter, each tooth, see if you look at here, as the workpiece advances against the rotating cutter, it is advancing to the rotating cutter. Each tooth of the cutter removes metal from the surface of the workpiece to produce the desired shape. So here each cutter point, see this is called as multiple cutting edges it is having on the cutter. So each cutting edge is going to touch this workpiece and then remove the excess material. So that is why it's called as multiple point cutting edges it is having. So it is called multiple cutter or multiple point cutter or milling cutter. Then in short, it is called as a milling cutter. So in this work is very rigidly clamped on the table of the machine while revolving multi-teeth cutter mounted either on the spindle as well as or an arbor. And this cutter revolves at high speeds. And the work is fed slowly past the cutter. The work can be fed vertical, longitudinal, or cross directional. As the work advances, the cutter teeth remove the metal from the work surface to produce the desired shape. And in turning operation, if you have observed it, in the turning operation, the tool is fed against the rotating workpiece. Rotating workpiece. Whereas in milling, the workpiece is fed against the rotating tool. So here the tool is in movement, and as well as workpiece is stationary. Whereas in the lathe machines, if you observe, lathe machine we have tool is stationary, and the workpiece is in rotation. Workpiece is in rotation. And the milling methods of milling. So methods of millings, which you can consider broadly into two methods. Two methods. One is the up milling or conventional milling. It is also called as conventional milling. Second one is down milling or climb milling. It is also called as climb milling. So we'll discuss one by one. In milling, the workpiece generally it is fed against the rotating cutter. It is fed against the rotating cutter. The relative motion between the workpiece and the cutter can be in any direction. The relative motion between, that is the relative motion, in sense here, if it is the direction is in the same direction, the cutter movement and the workpiece movement is in the same direction. So the relative motion between the workpiece and the cutter can be in any direction. So it can be, need not to be in the same direction. It may be in the opposite direction also. Based on the motion between the workpiece and the cutter, milling is classified into two types. Milling is classified into two types. One is the up milling and down milling, which we have discussed here. So based on the relative motion between the cutter and as well as the workpiece. So here, if you look at these two methods, first one we discussed, there is a conventional milling method. Conventional milling method. In up milling, in the up milling or conventional milling, the metal is removed. The metal is removed in the form of small chips by a cutter rotating against the direction of the travel of the workpiece. It means that the workpiece is fed in the direction opposite to the top the rotating cutter. Opposite to the top rotating cutter. So in the up milling, so if you look at this, the direction of the cutter, this is the up milling diagram. So the direction of the cutter is going to be in this direction, and the direction of the feed of the workpiece is in this direction. So both are in opposite direction. So in up milling, the workpiece is fed in the direction opposite to the top the rotating cutter. And the thickness of the chip when it starts from the starting to the bin. So at the beginning, the chip thickness is going to be small, and it goes till the end. The chip thickness is going to be increased. So the thickness of the chip is minimum at the beginning of the cut and reaches to a maximum when the cut ends. And in the up milling, the cutting force is directed upwards. See here, as the rotating cutter is going to move in this direction, the force acts in this upward direction. So as it is moving in this direction, it tries to tend this particular job from the workpiece. Means tries to lift the workpiece from the work table because of that upward direction of force. And during the upmilling, the chip gets accumulated in this zone because it is cut this material, and then the cut portion, the chips will be placed on this surface of this workpiece only. So during upmilling, the chips gets accumulated at the cutting zone. These chips interfere with the rotating cutter. These chips interfere because as it moves, the workpiece moves in this direction, the chips which is accumulated on this surface will be touch this particular cutter, and these chips interfere with the rotating cutter and thereby impair surface finish. Going to be you're not going to get the surface finish, very good surface finish you cannot get in this because of the spoiling these chips which are at a high temperature, spoiling the surface of this particular workpiece. And also it is difficult for efficient circulation of coolant also. Here in this case, the circulation of coolant is also very difficult. And see here, the poor surface finish obtained. The major disadvantage of this upmilling is because the chips which are accumulated on the work surface, that's why the poor surface finish is going to be obtained. And the upmilling is preferred for rough cuts. Only it is preferred for rough cuts, and especially for casting and forging, because this method is enables the cutter to dig in and start the cut below the hard upper surface. And it is safer process, of course, and it is commonly used method of milling. And in this type of milling, the chip thickness is minimum at the start of the cut and maximum at the end of the cut. As a result of the cutting force also varies from 0 to the maximum value for growth movement of the milling cutter. This is about the up milling. And coming to the down milling or climb milling, we can call it as down milling or climb milling. In this method, the metal is removed by a cutter. In this method, in the down milling, the workpiece is fed in the same direction. The workpiece is fed in the same direction as that of the rotating cutter. Means the rotating cutter and the workpiece both move in the same direction. Both moves in the same direction. If you look at this diagram, see here, the rotating cutter is moving in a clockwise direction, and the workpiece is moving in the right to left. So both are in the same direction. Both are in the same direction. So in the down milling, the workpiece is fed in the same direction as that of the rotating cutter. And the thickness of the chip, when you compare to this up milling, this down milling, it in the beginning of the beginning of the or starting of the cut, it will be maximum at the beginning. It will be maximum, and as it reaches to the minimum, where the cut going to be ends, means as it is moving from this point to this point, so it is cutting at the maximum at the beginning, and that is coming down. As it is coming down, see the cutting chip thickness is going to be minimum at this point. Okay, so the thickness of the chip is maximum at the beginning of the cut and reaches to the minimum when the cut ends. And the cutting force, because as it is rotating in a clockwise direction, the cutting force is acts downwards. The cutting force acts on the workpiece downward. So, and this tends to keep the workpiece firmly on the work table. Whereas in the up milling, it tries to lift the workpiece from the work table, and whereas in the down milling or climb milling, it tries to keep the workpiece firmly on the work table. And in the down milling, the chips do not interfere with the revolving cutter, because see the movement of this, and the chip is moves in this direction, so it will not come in contact with the cutter once again. Whereas in the case of milling, it is going to interfere with the cutter. So in down milling, the chips do not interfere with the revolving cutter, because they are disposed easily by the cutter. And surface finish which you are going to obtain compared to the up milling, it is going to be a good surface finish can be obtained in this. Compared to the up milling. And in the down milling, the coolant can be easily reach the cutting zone. This is the cutting zone. So we can apply the coolant in this cutting zone, because it is a metal to metal contact. So heat will be generated to prevent the surface. To get the good surface finish, you can apply the coolant in the cutting zone. And also down milling produces the better surface finish. As I told you that the better surface finish obtained because there is no interference of the chips on the work with the cutter, and it is particularly used for finishing operations and small work like cutting slots and grooves. So with this climbing, saws cut along the thin slots more satisfactorily than with the stand milling. Another advantage is that it's slightly lower power consumption. It is a slightly lower power consumption, and it is by the climb milling. And see that there are different types of milling machines which we can see. This is one kind of milling machine which is called as a universal milling machine, and this is one more is called as vertical milling machine. Okay, universal milling machine and vertical milling machine. And the milling machines consists of following parts. So any milling machine, if you take, it consists of base, and it consists of column, it consists of knee and the saddle and table. So overhanging arm and front brace, spindle, all this going to be present in any milling machine. So what it does, all these functions. Base is nothing but it is a foundation for the milling machine. Base is nothing but, see here, if you look at this is a foundation for this milling machine. Okay, so here it carries the column at its one end, and in some machines, and the base is hollow and serves as a reservoir for the cutting fluid. And this base can be serves as a reservoir for the cutting fluid also, and it also supports the column, because one end of this base supports the column of the milling machine. And column, second part is going to be in the milling machine is column. What is the column? Column is nothing but it's a main supporting. It's a main supporting member mounted vertically on the base. Main supporting member mounted vertically on the base. It is a box shape, heavily ribbed inside, and houses all the driving mechanisms. So all the driving mechanisms for spindle and the table feed can be incorporated in the column, and the front vertical face of the column is accurately machined and provided with the dovetail guideways for supporting the knee. See here, this is called knee. So in order to movement of this knee, there should be a guideways. These are the guideways, the vertical one which you can see. So these guideways are provided on the column to support this knee, And knee, what is a knee? A knee is nothing but it is a rigid gray iron casting which slides up and down, on the vertical face of the column face, on the vertical face of the column face. How it can move up and down? Because there will be provided an elevating screw. An elevating screw is mounted, and on that the knee is placed. An elevating screw mounted on the base, which is used to adjust the height of the knee, and also it supports the knee. And fourth one is saddle. So if you look at this here, this is called as a saddle. So on which the knee is, a saddle is lying on the knee to support the work table. Over the saddle, the work table is going to be placed. So what is a saddle? Saddle is nothing but it is placed on the top of the knee. And it slides on the guideways, and it is set exactly 90 degrees to the column face. So the top of the saddle provides the guideways for the work table. What is the work table? Work table is nothing but on which it rests. The table rests on ways, the guideways on the saddle, and travels longitudinally. A lead screw under the table engages a nut on the saddle to move the table horizontally. By hand or a power. In universal machines, the table may also be swiveled horizontally. For this purpose, the table is mounted on a circular base. And the top of this table is accurately finished, and the T-slots are provided on the table. For clamping the work and other fixtures on it. Workpiece and other fixtures on it. And what is the overhanging arm? If you look at this figure, overhanging arm is nothing but this one, where it is going to support the one end of the arbor, and this name, it is mounted on the top of the column. Which extends beyond the column face and serves as the bearing support, for the other end of the arbor. And what is front brace? It is an extra support which is fitted between the knee and the overarm to ensure further rigidity to the arbor. And spindle, it is situated in the upper part of the column and receives the power from the motor through belts, gears, and clutches, and transmit to the arbor. So if you look at this figure, see here, this is the arbor. Okay. So and this is the work table and the saddle. So each and one we have described here. Above. The milling machine. What are the parts in any milling machine? These are the basic parts which consists of. And we'll go with the classification of milling machines. So milling machine is one of the most versatile machine tool which is used, and it is capable of producing the variety of surfaces on the workpieces, as well as in the large volume of production also we can produce. And there are a variety of machines, each having their own features and designed for a particular application. So there are different types of milling machines which are classified, shown here. There are 5 types, and 4 most common types of manually controlled machines. Okay, column and knee type milling machines. Which are used for general purpose of milling operations. Column and knee type milling machines are the most common milling machines. And in that, based on the spindle to which the milling cutter is maybe hand milling machine, horizontal milling machine, universal milling machine, and vertical milling machine. So all these 4 machines are called as column and knee type of milling machines. And planar milling machine. Planar milling machines are nothing but it is similar to the bed type machines. But are equipped with the several cutters This planar milling machines are equipped with the several cutters and heads to mill various surfaces. And fixed bed type of milling machines. One more classification is fixed bed type of milling machines. In bed type machines, the work table is mounted directly on the bed. In the bed type machines, the work table is mounted directly on the bed, which replaces the knee, and can move only longitudinally. Here, knee will not be present here. We are going to keep the work table directly on the bed, and it can move only longitudinally. These machines have high stiffness and are used for high production work. And these fixed bed type of milling machines used for the high production work. So there are three types of these fixed bed type milling machines. One is a simplex milling machine, duplex milling machine, and triplex milling machine. And fourth one is machining center machines. Various milling machine components that is are being replaced rapidly with the computer numerical control machines. That is called as CNC machines. These machine tools are versatile and are capable of milling, drilling, boring, and tapping with a repetitive accuracy. And this is also called as special purpose milling machines. This is also called as special purpose milling machines, and thread milling machine and tracer controlled milling machine all come under this category. And five is the special types of milling machine which you can use for the different purposes. And rotary table milling machine. Rotary table machines are similar to the vertical milling machines and are equipped with one or more heads to do the face milling operations. So to do the face milling operations, these equipped with the one or more heads. And under the special types of milling machines, we have a plenary milling machine, duplicating machine, and profiling machine, pantograph milling machine, drum milling machine, continuous milling machine, profiling and tracer controlled milling machine. So these are come under the special types of milling machines. So we'll go as per your syllabus. You have a horizontal milling machine and vertical milling machine. So we go with horizontal milling machine first. And column and knee type milling machine. This comes under the column and knee milling machines. So column and knee milling machines are so named because of the distinguished characteristics of two principal parts. What main principal parts is nothing but column and knee, because the column contains all the all the drives, all the driving mechanism, and knee supports the work table, which is very important for the milling operations. And that's why in column and knee milling machines, these are all two principal parts. We can call it as two principal parts as column and knee. And this type of machine, which we are used for general purpose milling operations, and is most commonly used machine in industries. It is the most commonly used machine in industries. And column and knee milling machines are designed in different forms. Column and milling machines are designed in different forms. And as per your syllabus, as I told you that we have only horizontal and vertical milling machines. So first we'll go with the horizontal milling machine. The horizontal milling machine is a very robust and sturdy machine. A variety of cutters are available to remove the excess material. This is the horizontal milling cutter is going to be used in this, when a vertical miller is also not suitable here. And for instance, if a lot of metal has to be removed by the cutter, then there is a less of need of accuracy. So horizontal milling machine is going to be chosen in that case. So if you look at this, how this horizontal milling machine is going to be works. So this is the front view. See, the cutter is moving in this. So this is called as cutting tool, which is placed on the arbor. Okay, which is placed on the arbor. And this is the movement of your work table. This is called cross traverse handle. So which can be moved in this direction. And this is called T slots, which is provided on the machine. So this is the machine wise where the workpiece is going to be fixed on this. And then this up and down movement, these are called these guide weights of this particular knee. So knee can be moved up and down by using these guide weights, and with the support of this vertical traverse handle. Okay. And we'll go to the different parts in the horizontal milling machine, which we are going to discuss here. So one is the